Introduction to ordering decimals. Okay, you've got to know what the symbols stand for first. This first one, less than, I remember that it's less than because it starts with the letter L, and this symbol almost looks like a squished L, an L that's been flattened. So if you open it up, it would look like an L. So that's how I remember the difference between less than and greater than. Less than means smaller than. Greater than means larger than or bigger. Equal is the same. Okay, so when you have decimals that you're comparing, you want them to have the same number of decimals. So I've got 7.3 and 7.09. So I have two decimals in the second one, so I'm going to make the first one have two decimals by putting a 0. The reason you want them to have the same number of decimals is because then you can just take the decimals away. So I can look at this as 730 and this one as 709, and 730 is larger than 709, so that's greater than. So greater than. The next one, each one already has two decimals, so I can just take the decimal, say two decimals, I mean two numbers after the decimal, so I could just take the decimal point away. So I have 188 and 186. Well, 188 is larger than 186, so that's greater than. This next one, 0.5 and 0.50. On the first one, you have to add an additional 0 because you have to make them have the same number of numbers after the decimal, because then you can take the decimal away. So 50 equals 50. The next one, this has two numbers after the decimal, so I'm just going to add a 0. So I've got 90 and 90, so that's equal. This has two numbers after the decimal, this has 1, so I have to add a 0. So that's 404 and 420. Well, 404 is smaller, so less than 420. And this, they each have two numbers after the decimal, so you can just take the decimal point away. So I have 332 or 331. 332 is larger, so greater than. The next one, two numbers after the decimal, two numbers after the decimal, so I can just take the decimal point away. So 335 is smaller or less than 829. Two numbers after the decimal, two numbers after the decimal, so take the decimal point away because they have the same number of numbers after the decimal. So 746 is larger or greater than 718. And the same for this one. Oops, this one has one number, so I have to put a 0. So I've got 04 or I've got 60. Well, 4, if it's a 0 in the front, you just take whatever's after the 0. So 4 is smaller than or less than 60.